Supply of petrol from Dangote Refinery to commence tomorrow. Federal government inaugurates committee on consequential adjustment in salaries for civil servants. In sports, Team Delta adds to medals at ongoing National Youth Games. Abroad, 37 people get death sentence over attempted ouster of Democratic Republic of Congo president. Good evening and welcome to the Delta Television News at 8. I am Ogaga Ikama. The federal government has disclosed that the supply of petrol from Dangote Refinery will commence tomorrow after both parties reached an agreement on pricing and supply. A member of the Presidential Committee on the Sale of Crude Oil and Refined Products and chairman of the Federal Inland Revenue Service, Mr. Zach Adedeji, in Abuja said in return, NNPC Limited would commence the supply of 385,000 barrels of crude oil to Dangote Refinery on October 1. Mr. Adedeji announced that all agreements had been completed and loading of the first batch of PMS from the Dangote Refinery will commence tomorrow. He noted that Dangote Refinery would in return supply fuel and diesel of equivalent value to the domestic market to be paid for in Naira. Mr. Adedeji said other decisions reached by the committee include the sale of diesel in Naira by the Dangote Refinery to any interested off-taker, while fuel will only be sold to NNPC. The agreement is expected to ease the acute shortage of petrol across the country and also allow the government to continue the payment of subsidies on the product. The NNPC would remain as the sole off-taker of petrol from the refinery, with other marketers getting the product from the National Oil Company. The federal government has inaugurated the Committee on Consequential Adjustments in Salaries for Civil Servants. The head of the Civil Service of the Federation, Mrs. Didi Wobson-Jack, who stated this during the inauguration of the committee in Abuja, emphasized the significance of the committee's assignment, stating that it was crucial for maintaining industrial peace and harmony. She expressed confidence that the committee would execute its mandate in the best interest of the public service and the nation. The head of civil service said the inauguration of the committee was a step towards implementing President Bola Tinubu's renewed hope agenda aimed at lifting Nigerians out of poverty and creating an enabling environment for prosperity. The inauguration of the committee came weeks after President Tinubu signed the minimum wage into law amidst rising inflation in the country. The committee was established to implement the provisions of the National Minimum Wage Act of 2024, which increased the national minimum wage from 30,000 naira to 70,000 naira. The committee, comprising 16 members from the federal government and the trade unions, was chaired by the head of civil service of the Federation. Its terms of reference included negotiating and agreeing on consequential adjustments in salaries and developing a template for the implementation of the approved minimum wage. The committee's members include representatives from the National Salaries, Incomes and Wages Commission, Federal Ministry of Labor and Employment, Office of the Head of the Civil Service of the Federation, and trade unions. With the inauguration of the committee, the federal government had demonstrated its commitment to enhancing the economic well-being of Nigerian workers and improving productivity in the public service. 115 students from Ika Federal Constituency from various tertiary institutions have qualified for the Monday Oyeme Foundation 2024 Annual Scholarship Scheme. Perebotu has details.
The successful candidates were selected after an aptitude test held at the Ogumuden Model Secondary School, Agbo. A total of 553 students from Delta North Senatorial District were selected for the 2024 Monday Oyeme Foundation Annual Scholarship, a brainchild of the Deputy Governor. From the Undokwa Ukwani Federal Constituency, 289 undergraduates were selected, 149 from the Anyocha Ochemili Federal Constituency, and 115 from the Ika Federal Constituency. 254 candidates were shortlisted for the aptitude test from the Ika Federal Constituency, where 115 students were successful. The Deputy Governor, Sir Monday Oyeme, who personally supervised the aptitude test, charged them to adhere to the laid-down procedures to avoid disqualification. Sir Oyeme and other officials later marked the scripts of the students and sorted the booklets according to their wards and local government areas. The deputy governor who announced the results after the aptitude test congratulated the 115 students having qualified for the 2024 scholarship.
Total of 115 students were successful on this occasion. 65 students from Ika South and 60 from Ika Northeast.
He said the qualified students will be given the sum of 200,000 naira each, while those with the three highest scores will be given additional 200,000 naira, 150,000 naira, and 100,000 naira. Sir Oyeme said checks will be presented to the beneficiaries on a later date and advised the students to take their studies seriously and make judicious use of the money to enhance their educational pursuit.
Each of these 115 students will be given a check of 200,000 each. And then, also in line with our tradition, we normally look for the best, the highest score, and the second best, and the third best. The highest score will get an additional 200,000. And then the second highest will get an additional 150,000. Finally, the third highest scorer will get an additional 100,000.
One student got the highest score of 40 marks, two others took the second position with 38 marks, while three took the third position with 37 marks each. In an interview, some of the successful students thanked Deputy Governor Sir Monday Oyeme for his scholarship scheme, saying it would further enhance their educational pursuit.
I'm so happy to be one of the people that were being like that who won today. I feel excited.
I'm so happy.
I am Pere Botu reporting.
The federal government has reiterated its commitment to addressing the various forms of insecurity affecting different parts of the country. The Minister of Finance and Coordinating Minister of the Economy, Mr. Wole Edun, gave the assurance while leading a presidential delegation to Yobe State to commiserate with the government and the people of the state over the recent incident in Mafa community. He said the visit was a demonstration of the federal government's resolve to end insecurity and promote peace and stability across the nation. The minister expressed heartfelt condolences to the families of the victims of the Mafa attack and the people of Yobe State. The National Security Advisor Malam Nuhu Ribadu, who was also on the entourage, assured that the end of terrorism and banditry in Nigeria was getting much closer. He commended the army and other security organizations for their efforts in checking terrorism in the northeast and other crimes across the country. Governor Buni expressed appreciation for the visit, saying the government and the people of Yobe State had been given a sense of belonging by their visit. The Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Turid Lagbaja, has urged Nigerians and stakeholders to collaborate with the military to ensure a cohesive and coordinated response to threats. The Chief of Army Staff made SS, University of Ibadan in Oyo State. General Lagbaja, who was represented by the General Officer Commanding Nigerian Army 2 Division, Major General Obinna Onubogu, said the nature of security threats in Nigeria called for a holistic approach. He noted that there must be enhanced communication, cooperation, and trust among the different sectors to ensure national interests and security objectives. The Chief of Army Staff said the country's temporary security environment was fluid and constantly evolving, with the influence of external actors with the capacity to disrupt and destroy people, assets, and infrastructure. He called on both the Ministry of Education and the National Orientation Agency to assist in sensitizing citizens and stakeholders on security awareness and education. General Lagbaja lamented the country's porous borders, which had been a major security threat, thereby necessitating collaboration and synergy to advance a non-kinetic approach to curb the situation. Still to come, federal government declares Monday public holiday to mark Eid al-Maulud. Details of this and more coming up shortly.
Don't worry, we'll talk later, yeah?
Buddy,
How far?
give me small spot and beg. Make I play game. Beg.
Oh, yeah, now.
Thanks, G.
No, since in fact don't come out.
Buddy, how far? I got you.
Buddy, I beg, make I connect. I beg, I need to stream.
Enjoy 100% data bonus with night data. Dial star 312 hash to enjoy.
Power your relentless ambition with ultra-high speed data. Glow Unlimited.
Welcome back. Thank you for staying with us on the news. The federal government has declared Monday as a public holiday in commemoration of this year's Eid al-Maulud. The Minister of Interior, Dr. Olubunmi Tunji-Ojo, who made the declaration, congratulated Muslims both in the country and abroad on the occasion and implored them to take advantage of the celebration to pray for a peaceful and more equitable Nigeria. The minister also advised Nigerians to cultivate the virtues of patience, sacrifice, and resilience. Eid al-Maulud is an annual festival celebrated by Muslims worldwide to mark the birth of Prophet Muhammad. Niger State has entered an agreement worth $684 million to transform the state's agricultural sector to ensure food security, job creation, and stimulate economic growth. The special advisor to the governor on digital media and strategy, Mr. Abdubegi Ebo, who made the disclosure, said under the agreement, a 50,000-hectare special agro-industrial processing zone SAPS will be developed to transform the sector. The governor signed the contract with China Overseas Engineering Group Company Limited, COVEC, and China Railway Engineering Corporation, CREC, a giant step taken to revolutionize the agricultural value chain in Nigeria, especially in Niger State. This long-term investment will revolutionize the agricultural sector, guarantee food security, create thousands of jobs, and stimulate economic opportunities and growth. The focus is on promoting commodities and essential crops in Niger State with high potential to boost export revenues. He added that the Niger State SAPS will promote increased productivity, value addition, efficient storage practices, market access, and increased private sector investment in select agricultural value chain commodities. Mr. Ebo further revealed that Niger State is among the first few states to sign up for the agricultural initiative provided by the African Development Bank to positively catalyze agricultural development in Africa. Operatives of the Nigerian Security and Civil Defense Corps, NSCDC Akwa Ibom Command, said it has rescued a 12-year-old girl, Bright Sunday, who was locked up in a dilapidated building and tortured for 2 years by her father in Ikot Uporo Idoro village, Upieno, a local government area of the state. Addressing newsmen in Uyo, Akwa Ibom State, the state commandant of NSCDC, Mr. Oluyemi Oluwade, stated that the victim's father, Mr. Ndifreke Sunday, 38 years, and her stepmother, Mrs. Victory Sunday, 28 years, had accused her of being a witch. Mr. Oluyemi Oluwade said the rescue and subsequent arrest of the suspects followed a complaint received from the Ministry of Justice. He added that the father of the victim and her stepmother were arrested for child deprivation and abuse in line with Section 10 of the Violence Against Persons Prohibition Law 2020. The suspects admitted to locking up the child because she confessed to being a witch and responsible for his afflictions. Narrating our ordeal, the victim said she was kept locked up in a dilapidated room, denied food, bathing, and subjected to consequent beating to consistent beating from her stepmother. The victim added that she was fed once in 2 days, allowed to bathe a maximum of twice a month, and denied education. The state commandant condemned the act of subjecting the young girl to such treatment, describing it as barbaric, callous, and heinous. He warned parents to desist from such acts under whatever excuse or guise, as the agency of government would not relent in apprehending offenders. The commandant added that the girl has been handed over to gender-based violence shelter home for care and rehabilitation, while the suspects will be handed over to the appropriate prosecuting agency for necessary action. 37 people, including 3 Americans, a Briton, a Belgian, and a Canadian national, have been sentenced to death over an attempt to overthrow the president of the Democratic Republic of Congo. The men were accused of leading an attack on both the presidential palace and the home of an ally of President Felix Tshisekedi in May. Christian Malaga, a U.S. national of Congolese origin, the suspected leader of the plot, was killed during the attack along with 5 others. Total of 51 people were tried in military court, with hearings broadcast on national TV and radio. Mr. Malanga's son Marcel, one of the U.S. citizens sentenced to death, previously told the court that his father had threatened to kill him unless he took part. His friend Tyler Thompson was also given the death penalty. The pair, aged in their 20s, had played football together in Utah. Also sentenced to death was Jean-Jacques Wondo, a dual Congolese and Belgian citizen. Human Rights Watch previously described him as a prominent researcher on regional politics and security, and suggested the evidence connecting him to the coup attempt was thin. The court heard the British national Yusuf Ezangi had helped recruit some of the other persons who took part. Of the 51 persons tried, 14 people were acquitted and freed, with the court finding they had no connection to the attack. In business, the Nigerian Association of Chambers of Commerce, Industry, Mines and Agriculture, NASIMA, has outlined a comprehensive strategy to help Nigerian manufacturers navigate the current economic turbulence and secure long-term success. The NASIMA president, Mr. Dele Oye, said manufacturers needed to diversify their product portfolios and explore new market segments. He noted that the strategy was essential for mitigating risks associated with economic fluctuations and seizing emerging opportunities. Mr. Oye describes the investment in workforce development as a critical area for improvement, adding that the training of employees remains pivotal in enhancing productivity and adaptability within the dynamic manufacturing sector. He noted that a well-trained workforce would not only boost operational efficiency, but also strengthen business competitiveness. The NASIMA president urged manufacturers to unite their voices to influence policy decisions affecting their sector. In sports, Team Delta has added to its medal at the ongoing National Youth Games as Odo Melvin clinched gold in the male category high jump. Melvin jumped 1.90 meter to claim the gold medal, and he attempted to jump 1.95 meter but failed to scale through the bar. In the 1,500 meters race, male category, Team Delta finished 3rd place as Gyang Sunday from Plateau emerged winner of the race. In the female category, River State athlete emerged as winner in the 1,500 meters race. 2012 born Blessing Faith Chukuma Delta won heat 5 of the girls 100 meter in 12.97 seconds, followed closely by Bayesa's Gift Allison 13 seconds and Imo's Faith Onyenemaya 13.04 seconds. Less than 2 weeks since the boast appointment of Bruno Labbadia as the head coach of the Super Eagles, the Nigerian Football Federation is facing the onerous task of finding another coach for the Super Falcons following the resignation of Randy Waldrop. The American tactician's resignation became public in the early hours of yesterday, coming as a shock for many, but that could be more for the NFF that had handed the coach a contract extension a few months back. The 67-year-old who led Nigeria to the women's football tournament of the 2024 Olympic Games in France stated his wife's health condition as the reason for his resignation. According to him, it's been a very difficult few weeks following the Olympics with his wife's health issues and the worries that obviously come with it. Waldrum said after much thought and consideration, he decided to resign his position as head coach of the Super Falcons, adding that this will allow the NFF ample time to find the next manager to take over these Super Falcons. Waldrum said he always wanted to leave any project better off than when he took it over and believed that they have done that with the Super Falcons. He averred that he had built a squad that can compete consistently with any top team in the world, saying the future is bright for the current team as well as the up-and-coming under-20 and under-17 pool of players. In his 1,167 word letter, Waldrum also revisited his recent games in charge of the team at the 2023 FIFA Women's World Cup in Australia and New Zealand, as well as the Olympics, as part of his achievements with the team. Waldrum was appointed by the NFF in 2020 and led the Super Falcons to the 2022 WAFCON in Morocco, where the team finished fourth, the worst performance by the 11-time African champions in the history of the competition. Southampton has registered Paul Onuachu for the 2024-2025 season after he spent last season on loan at the Turkish Super League club Trabzonspor. The 30-year-old was expected to leave the South Coast club after he was excluded from the Saints matchday squad for their opening 3 league games of the current season. Trabzonspor was priced out of a permanent move for the giant striker after Southampton had asked for €15 million for Onuachu. The former gangster is in Southampton's 25-man roster alongside with his international teammate Joe Aribo. Next is the thought for the day. You don't have to fight against wicked people. Their own plotting, scheming, and lies will bring them down. To end the news, here again are the main points. The federal government has disclosed that the supply of petrol from Dangote Refinery will commence tomorrow after both parties reached an agreement on pricing and supply. A member of the Presidential Committee on the Sale of Crude Oil and Refined Products and chairman of the Federal Inland Revenue Service, Mr. Zach Adedeji in Abuja, said in return, NNPC Limited would commence the supply of 385,000 barrels of crude oil to Dangote Refinery on October 1. The federal government has inaugurated the Committee on Consequential Adjustments in Salaries for Civil Servants. The head of the Civil Service of the Federation, Mrs. Didi Wofsin-Jack, who stated this during the inauguration of the committee in Abuja, emphasized the significance of the committee's assignment, stating that it was crucial for maintaining industrial peace and harmony. Team Delta has added to its medal at the ongoing National Youth Games as Odo Melvin clinched gold in the male category high jump. Melvin jumped 1.90 meters to claim the gold medal and attempted to jump 1.95 meters but failed to scale through the bar. Abroad, 37 people, including 3 Americans, a Briton, a Belgian, and a Canadian national, have been sentenced to death over an attempt to overthrow the president of the Democratic Republic of Congo. The men were accused of leading an attack on both the presidential palace and the home of an ally of President Felix Tshisekedi in May. That's the news. Thank you so much for watching. I am Ogaga Ikama. Good evening.
Efe, you see, maintaining peace and security in Delta State remains a priority for the Governor Sheriff Oberewari-led administration.